Evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Question Time Live, episode 108. God, racking up some miles now, aren't we? It's mental. Yeah, what's been happening? Plenty this end, that's for sure. I've got a fair few updates on bits and bobs for you. We'll do it at the beginning, then probably at the end as well. But yeah, weather's shit. Been told off about me swearing on today's video, which has been a been a good one. Oh god, that's going to get interesting. The video has gone down well. I think the fish has gone down well, and the language hasn't apparently. But we'll get to that in a minute. Anyway, it's made me chuckle. So yeah, apparently I need to start putting age ratings on my videos. So this is a PG-13, is it? Whatever. Here we go. Could be bad language. Actually, probably will be bad language. Promise you that. Good laugh. So yes, what have we got going on? I think first bit probably is that video. You might have seen it on the channel already. It's been flying all day. Oh, Luke, yes. The blue tack, the signs in the background, absolutely killing me last week. I've got a bit of double-sided, that sticky Velcro stuff supporting it today. So fingers crossed, we're going to be there with that one. Yeah, so the video, I mean, wow. So that's the first real insight into the recent shipment I had to absolute heavyweight breeders. And oh my God, they are absolutely sensational. Really, really are. And question in there, look, we Craig. Any price of yet? No. And actually, I've got something quite cool we're cooking up with them that I think you're absolutely gonna love potentially as well. Something to keep you all going over the winter. But stay tuned. I'll not say too more. If you haven't seen the video, get on there, enjoy it, see what everyone's been hyping about. Right, next one as well. This is going to shock you because I've actually put a bit of prep into this. I've got a couple of little videos to share with you today for a little bit of koi appreciation. One of them is very, very interesting. And I've also put in the description, especially on YouTube, I'm not quite sure if it works on Facebook, but on YouTube, in the description is a link now to join the WhatsApp group. And also a link to join our Telegram koi community. That's a permanent link, always accessible. That group is going down an absolute storm. The vibe in there, and it's just an absolute, it's a crack. The information is very, very useful. There's a lot of great support from fellow koi keepers and myself. Farm updates, you name it, and it's amazing because we can got it all separated out into different topics that are building all the time and growing all the time. So it's a resource. And even people who join it today, for example, can see all of the chat history as well. And unlike WhatsApp, you only see it from the day you join. There's a full chat history to get on board with. So yes, and I've even started doing a few pondside sales in there when I've been grading through ponds. So well worth it. If you're not in there, let's say there's a link in the description on YouTube. It might well be on the Facebook, can't guarantee, but you can get it on YouTube anyway. And I look forward to seeing you in there. Yeah, where should we start? I think we're going to get to this swearing one because I feel like I need to address this. It took me back a little bit, to be honest. One thing with me, this is how I've actually, and this was good fun. Was having a look in the office the other day for some reference, and I pulled up one of my, I think it was question 2 or 3, episode question 2 or 3 of Question Time. And oh my God, it was an absolute shocker. I can't believe you lot actually tuned into that and watched it. It was horrendous. Oh, certainly feeling like I've got a lot better in that respect, but I am personally feeling a hell of a lot more as each week, everything, whatever we do, so much more comfortable having a camera stuck in my face and just actually expressing and being me. And I'm not proud of it or whatever, but I do swear like a trooper. It's the way I express. And I'm happy, actually, in fact, that coming out more in the videos and the content, because that is me. And when I get excited, the F's and Jeffs really get fired up. So that's that one, really. Fuck it. So yeah, there we go. But yeah, feel free to keep commenting about it, folks. But nothing is going to change in that respect. You just know you're getting the genuine me, and I'm all down for that anyway. Next one up. What have we got? I've done the Telegram group, haven't I? Oh yes. So just another reminder, we have got a video we're stitching together on this one, but the Hiyotsori Grow Out event, I've mentioned it now. Oh yeah, here's another one that's got coined. But this actually got coined on last week's episode, I think. FWQ, fucking wow quality. I love that. And that's been a big one in the Telegram group. And I've got to say, I have been using it already as well. So yes, why not? Hiyotsori event. So there's a full video coming out showing all the fish in detail, some appreciation stuff. Everything you need to know is going to come out on the channel in its own video. Just them main details of that. The fish are going to be 295, and that's going to include the growing and overwintering. So growing to the end of January, overwintering till the end of March for you. The way that's going to do, there's no lucky draw when it comes to it, which is going to be on the 27th of this month, which I believe is a Sunday, if I haven't got mixed up. All those fish will be listed on our website, and the dealer who owns them. Sorry, Dave's just distracted me with something there. I'll get to that in a minute. The dealer who owns the fish will be listed in the description on the site, so you can contact that dealer and get that particular fish secured. There isn't a massive lot to cut between them, and there's going to be a lot of change from it, which is where the fun element comes into all this. But yeah, and there's actually 45 places altogether. Managed to rustle a few more up. But yeah, that's your dates. That's what's happening, and stay tuned for the full video updates coming on that one. So back to what's just made me giggle, because this is an interesting topic. Just swear in Japanese. I've asked this question, obviously. What were the swear? And there's not actually any direct swear words in Japanese, as I'm told by our team member Rie out there. And it's just some kind of phrase which is absolutely brutal, about like something along the lines of "die." And that's the basis of this kind of Japanese swear word, as I've been told, unless I've misunderstood it. But I remember being quite shocked about it. Like, for all the F's and Jeffs, that is a little bit mental, because such a polite country, polite language as well. Yeah, swearing don't really fit into it all that much. There's not actually a super, well, there is one very direct way of saying no, but it is considered very rude. So you have to kind of find a more indirect, polite way of saying no. Fascinating language and culture, but part of what I love about it all, to be fair. And then your last one. So I've run a little bit behind with this, but I think you're going to be very, very excited. Amongst other announcements, the biggest of which is coming very, very soon, I think next week. I am restarting our live auctions, and they're going to be on a Monday night. So we was planning to get it done next week, but that's not going to happen. Got too busy, too far behind. So the week after that, not sure what date it is, they're going to be coming back to the channel in a super new and improved format that's going to fit into exactly what we've got to announce and I've got planned. I think you're going to love it. I'm excited to share it with you, and I think as the people or the company, myself, who kind of put that format out there, I think it's only fair that we get back in the mix amongst all the others and remind everybody how it's done. So get in. Just what I needed as well. Another another commitment, but why not? The nice thing is you're actually going to get you got. Obviously, the live auction itself, I think, is quite educational. So for me, I want to make sure for those who are just tuning in and not even bidding, there's actually some education in there. So there absolutely will be in that respect. But what you're also going to get is a preview video on the channel, which will act as a koi appreciation thing once a week as well. So that's pretty sweet. Our auction going to cost second mortgage? Absolutely not, Nigel. There'll be something in there for everybody, mate. I always try and be as inclusive as we can. And yeah, I think I'll leave it at that for now. That is actually, that's all I've got lined up. That. So, questions. Have we got any in? Let's not forget, guys, it is question time live. Fire them in there. Lots of you tuned in, which is amazing. Oh, that's the last one. This is the last week that I'm streaming Question Time Live over Facebook as well. So if you are I can see there's a few of you as well. If you are tuning in on Facebook, you're going to need to get yourself over to YouTube next week for that one. And the live auctions, when we get to them as well, they will just be streaming over YouTube at the same time. So there we have it. Right, let's see what we've got in here. Good evening to everybody who has tuned in. Let's have a look first of all. Yes, Keith, latest video. You wait till you see what I've got to share with you in a minute as well. Been snooping around in Fish House earlier, and yeah, wow. And as well, actually, yesterday, my God, that was a day. So I can't actually remember what I started with now, but I do know I ended harvest. Oh, the Sakamaki pond. These are epic. So I've had this batch of Sakamaki fish. I have featured them on the channel as well. Absolutely love them. What a breeder this is. A real up-and-comer, and one that I'm backing now to really be something in the next 5 years, I think. He's proven himself already. I think he could just kick on from where it is, to be fair. But I've really been nursing this batch of fish because they needed it just because of how he keeps them, not in a health perspective. I'm talking colour here and development and progress. But the depth of quality in his fish is superb. So yeah, got the selection done on those yesterday. Did a few pondside sales on them in the Telegram group, and they went down really well. Obviously got a few back in the pond to continue that development because they're really still not there, a lot of them. But then yeah, managed to harvest one of my growing ponds in the end. One of the quite special ones that's got a phenomenal mix in. I wasn't thinking they were anywhere near the sort of size that they are, which shocked me when they come up, to be fair. Richard, you do make me chuckle. Yeah, and I've got a little video clip to share. I've got a really good video of the whole day, to be fair. Managed to capture quite a bit. And I also did for the channel an appreciation video, because I think a lot of these fish highlighted. It's my mindset towards selecting koi and you guys getting the absolute most for your budget, especially when you're trying to get a bargain. And I think these were the perfect fish to execute that video, hence why we did it. So that's going to be coming in addition to the journal one we captured yesterday, which I think you will all really like and appreciate. Ignore the telling off. I did, buddy. I just found it quite funny. Sean, good evening, mate. Oh dear. Take it. No, mate, no. She's the other half's used to it by now. In fact, I hope she's watching, so I can absolutely. She's the one. I was absolutely, a swear word never come out my mouth before I got married to Charlie. Yeah, there we go. Amazing, guys. Right, let me actually get to find out where your questions are. Oh, how's the mag going? Couple asked that. Yeah, I'm on with it. So we're looking like I'm going to definitely be on that end of the month for that back issue that's promised to everyone who was subscribed. And then we'll be kicking on from there. So that's actually hopefully going to be the two coming at the same time, working my arse off to get to that at the minute. But really, really excited, honestly, to get that going. Because I think as a platform for me to take what we do on here and possibly in other videos and actually put it in a really detailed form in text, you know, that can be an expansion of some of these topics that we just do kind of skim over at times as well. I think it's going to be really, really valuable to everybody out there. And just that, you know, it's the commitment from me just to continue helping educate and share the information and good knowledge as much as I can. Yes, correct, buddy, correct. Anyway, no more on that one. Lloyd, just watched it. I take it you mean the video, mate. Yeah, absolutely nuts. Right, let's have a look. I love that, Roy. Evening all. Ricky, my wife's language was far worse than yours when I told her I bought a koi off you. Like, oh, amazing. Love that. Yeah, it's not the first time I've heard that either. Apparently, there's quite a bit of demand building in the Telegram group for divorce advice and marriage counselling and stuff like that. So, looks like there's another pie I need to get my finger into there because apparently I'm the problem. Right. Question. God, I'm not getting to it, folks. Here we go. Perrin. Evening, Ricky. Now I'm heated. What temps should I avoid in spring? And do I have to avoid these temps when temperature drops in autumn, winter? Right. So one of the big things, Perrin, is stability. Stability is the real reason you've got this heat right now. It's not about cooking them up over winter. It is avoiding those times of year and the problems. So what I would be doing right now, to be honest with you, if you're wanting to keep them going for a little bit longer, is holding it out. If you don't want to go up to the growing temps, holding it out at 18, and then probably planning whether your winter temperature is going to be, 8 to 12 for me, depending on how you want to run it. There's not that much difference, in all honesty, apart from everything just slowing down that little bit more, but certainly no warmer than 12. This is kind of that, that in between is this thing where, everything's just in limbo. Apart from it's a decent temperature, parasites will do their thing, but your filter's kind of in limbo. Fish's immune system certainly nowhere near firing. But it can be a bit of a breeding ground for bacteria. I just don't like the whole setup, hence why I say go cooler or warmer. So 8 to 12 is a real nice winter temperature. And if you just wanted to hold them higher than that, 18, and if you're growing, then you obviously want to be moving to your 20s to 25 range, depending how hard you want to go at it, mate. So yes, that's the one for me. I cannot for the life of me understand why. I've seen it from the day I got into this and saw, pond heating back then, a lot less people did it. Those that did, it was kind of this 16 degrees. And I just can't understand it because you can't do that much with a pond at 16. There's absolutely zero benefit to what you'll get from the koi between 16 and 12, other than it costing you a load more money, which is absolutely nuts, and wouldn't advise it at all. Oh, that's just reminded me. I haven't forgot. So I did say I was going to get the prize draw done, but I've been waiting, trying to build a page. I wanted to tie it in with all this other stuff I promised would be coming this month as well, and is. But I do want to give you a preview of the prize that's coming, and I'll try and get this fired up next week as well. Koi memorabilia, I think one of the ultimate pieces. There's been a couple of these in circulation previously, but this one's special. And yeah, anyway, it's a brown envelope. Look at that, folks. Absolutely fantastic. So that's going to be the prize for everybody who wants to sign up to the list that we're going to send out, and we'll do a lucky draw for it. There you go. Now, in all seriousness, see, I don't even want to get any fingerprints on this. That right there is a second anniversary edition. Let's get the light off it, of Koi Talk. There was a Marido special inside this, and that cover there is of Marido, Hisashi Hirasawa, and family and crew from back in the day. And that is actually signed by Hisashi Hirasawa, the big boss, and pretty much every other family member who was a part of the farm at Marido. Absolutely insane. He took it to the extremes when I did it. And I've been sat on this in my little collection for a while, but I think something that money can't really buy, this is quite hard. Even at the time, I had to convince him to do it. To be fair, he felt like a right prize, but he did it for me. So this is what we're going to be giving away in the prize draw. And I think that's an absolute banging piece of Koi memorabilia for somebody. And in all honesty, it's not been out of that envelope since I got it back. So there you go. Stay tuned for that one. Say it's going to be a free draw, and yeah, what a thing to potentially own there. Right, back to it. I see it's got a bit lively in here, so let's have a look. Hi Ricky, if I install a polytunnel over my outside pond without heating, will it make a difference to stable water temps to some degree compared to uncovered? It absolutely will. So I mean, just cutting out the wind chill factor you will hold a couple of degrees, maybe even a few degrees warmer. It will make a big difference. So yes, I would highly recommend that. It's also nice as well because you're not covering right near the surface, so you can still get a bit of decent gas exchange. You're not just really trapping everything in. So absolutely, they're not a fantastic insulator. Don't get me wrong, but they will keep a bit in there. But it's cutting out the wind chill more than anything. You'll notice a huge difference. So yeah, something I would recommend for sure. Right, what do you think of Awaza pressure filters for koi ponds? So I did say something on a video the other day, I think it was, that, for me, you can use pressure filters they've got a bad rep for sure. Don't get me wrong. Are they the ideal bit of equipment? No. Are box filters? No. Can you start a basic pond with a few koi and look after them and keep them healthy with one of these if you maintain it properly? Yes, 100%. This is not me saying go out and buy one. Absolutely not. If you're asking me what I'm going to use and the ideal thing, I'm going to go more Easy Pod, Nexus along them routes. But even those are out of people's budgets at times, and I don't want that to be off-putting. Now, they're not cheap, so could you do something homemade that would be a better option? Yes, 100%. I would say that. Or maybe even going to second-hand market and finding something, but you could make something like the trickle towers or stuff that I use that probably would be far more effective because you've still got some hands-on maintenance with that, and what you would get is a far more substantial filter. Just by understanding some of the principles and knocking something together, I think you're going to be a lot better off. But can you make it work with one of them? 100%. You've just got to work within its limits, maintain it. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but it is doable. I hope I've not minced my words on that one for someone to misquote me. But this, for me, if that's the difference between somebody getting into the hobby and not being in the hobby, is buying a little box filter or a pressure filter, because that's what they're comfortable with, crack on, because you can do it. I've done it in the past many years ago, run systems on really basic tools like that. You just have to work within the limitations of them. But like I say, not the ideal choice, but it's doable. Absolute best advice would be just to get to grips with some of the basics of filtration, watch a few DIY videos that are probably out there, and actually build something yourself, just to give you more capacity than they're probably going to have in them, in all honesty. Next koi pond. Evening, Ricky. When is the best time to stop feeding growth food to Tosai to give them a break from high quantity amounts of food? My grown is heated at 23. Yeah, so I like to, the Tosai, I think, you can give them a 6 to 8 month period. If it's been an intense period, 6 to 8 months, and then look to dial them back. Don't get me wrong, the Tosai through to Nisai, you can hit them a bit harder. You can go to the sort of 10 months and a couple of months rest. It's as they start to get older, you want to steady off. I've seen fish go Tosai, Nisai, Sanzai through really intense without really stopping, and they don't age well. It's not good for them. But Tosai, they're very resilient. You want to get the most out of them from Tosai to Nisai. So anywhere, buddy, I think up to that 10-month period, providing they're not looking exhausted. If you're managing everything well, then go for it. Just give them a couple of months off. Then they'll move into the next season. That's when really Nisai to Sanzai, that growing period wants to be, 6 months at most, and then some resting period for sure, because you're going to start causing chaos and yeah, not really doing a lot for them long term if you keep overdoing it year on year. Right. Question on sumi development. Why does the sumi on a Hiyotsutori seem to be more finished and developed to say other breeds, Shiro, Showa, etc. at a young age? Yeah, it's a lot to do with the way it's rooted in the skin, Mike. Shirotsutori are completely different in that way. The sumi of Hiyotsutori and Kiyotsutori, often, actually in most fish, isn't that good. One of the best ones is often the Hiyotsutori you'll get come from Showa, for example, Dainichi. I've had a couple of Hiyotsuris from there. The sumi was just absolutely insane on it. But it's all to do with the way it's rooted in the skin, just very, very differently. And don't forget, you know, they are all black-based fish, but you've got different colours kind of bred on top of it. But the heritage of a lot of Shirotsutori is Showa. And don't get me wrong, these will originate back there, but that's a lot of the reason why you see they're more of a direct descendant. And that's where that rooting and quality comes from. So, yes, and Shiro, don't get me wrong, then there's been a lot of refinement. I mean, Omasako has been the biggest part of Shirotsutori refinement, and their lineage comes directly from Showa. You know, it's a direct descendant there. When you actually look now, probably 95% of all Shirotsutori bloodlines are from Omasako Shiro. So, you know, that's where that is. Hiyotsutori lineages, there's still only really Shinoda with a super pure lineage. I might misquote myself there, but a lot of other Hiyotsutori do tend to just come from Showa stock. That's where, again, you'll see differences in them. But sumi is fascinating stuff, as you're going to see with the video I've got to share with you very, very soon. Evening, Ricky. For unheated folk in climates similar to the UK, do you recommend preventative fall treatments like PP to remove organics and prepare koi, treat any low-level problems? No, I don't, Carl. I never recommend any preventative treatments whatsoever, because you can end up doing more harm than good, actually adding stress where there is none and possibly even creating a problem. What I do recommend is obviously being smart on the microscope. You know, on the run up to it getting colder, is check in and make sure the fish are as happy and settled, and don't do anything on the drop into your winter period that's going to really rock the boat. That's what you want to watch, so that they carry all that good health, hopefully off of a good summer into the winter period. But yeah, I'm not one for just chucking chemical in without cause. Probably not spin the wheel one, buddy, because I'm going to have a fair bit going on. But yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, we've obviously got there's all sorts with the Telegram group and bits and bobs, but who knows? Let's see. Showa and best breeders and such to grow on. Yes, well, it'd be wrong of me not to say Dainichi, to be fair, but I think, did I answer this somewhat similar last week, Terry? I might have done. I was pretty much at the point where I was like, look, Issa Dainichi are unquestionably your head honchos for Showa. There's some serious players, you know, Momotaro can really deliver one, although numbers certainly last year were really low. And, oh, that's it, Sakai, not forgetting that one. But again, numbers really, really low. And they're not at the, don't get me wrong, when they pull one out, they've got the quality. But when you look at the quantity, Dainichi and Issa will produce in comparison, they're worlds apart. So that's where I'd really be. But this is all dependent upon budget. And that's what I said last time I answered this. That's really the thing, because there's a lot of great Showa breeders out there as well, where you can get a lot more bang for your buck, potentially, depending on what budget you're working with. And that's actually the point of the video I shot yesterday with the Sakamaki fish, is highlighting a lot of that and what you can actually do. Because yes, you know, you can get a cheaper fish from Dainichi, absolutely. And it'll probably have a decent body and decent skin. It will lack pattern, I absolutely guarantee you, unless you've hit on something really lucky where some dealer's absolutely bankrupt himself selling something off. You're going to pay for it to get the pattern level thrown in there. And that's the difference. When you step down a peg or two in breeders, you're still going to get, you know, you're going to get skin pattern, and you're more likely to get a higher quality of pattern in that mix as well. So questions like that are tough, because it's easy just to say, oh, who's best for that, and you point to one. But there's a lot more to it, really, when you're going with that. Oya best Asagi breeder, Akamatsuba. They're a close one, but I think I'm an Otsuka boy, really massive fan. But I've got to say, the Okawa Asagi that I've got, that I believe originated from Nagoshi, have absolutely blown my mind this year. I managed to scoop those 10 Tatigoi off Okawa, which I'm raising. My God, some of them I've got sat in that pond at the minute growing are just nuts, absolutely nuts. But Otsuka, it's the characteristic for me. Don't get me wrong, Oya produced fantastic examples. So does Otsuka, so does Hosakai, so does Tanaka. But it's the characteristic of Asagi from Otsuka, the Otofuku face, as it's called, from the Mombei line that he's got, is just phenomenal, and it is a unique characteristic, and I just adore it. So don't get me wrong, they're all the best of the bunch when it comes to producing that stuff. Yeah, that's just a personal preference at that point. Absolutely nothing to do with the fact I've got 150 of them swimming around in a growing pond either. No, but in all seriousness, I was so excited to get them this year because I've said it a few times. It's the first time I've actually managed to get just a batch of Otsuka Asagi for me to raise. So yeah, really, really enjoying that. Really enjoy that variety as well. Still to this day, one of my favorite ones. And I'm going to pull the pictures out. They're actually, in fact, I tell you what, give me a second, folks. So I often say I've got this stuff, and I just stared out because in my filing cabinet over there, this is the batch of pictures. I don't know if it's in here, mine. I'm going to have a quick look. This is the batch of pictures, actual photographs, look, from my dad's first trip to Japan back in 2000 when he didn't take me, the bastard. I mean, how wrong is that? I had just got into it then, and don't get me wrong, I was absolutely mad for it already. And it was a huge expense for him and business at time, to be fair. So I did forgive him for it. And it did take me 2 years later, to be fair. So I can't complain too much. But yeah, I was like, Dad, you need to get me some Asagi. And back then as well, mobile phones, I can't remember where they were at, but all I remember was he used to phone every 2 or 3 days on the landline as well, because it was so freaking expensive. And yeah, to update me, and he got 3 absolutely stunning Asagis from Marado. So just bear with me a second. These pictures are nuts. Oh, speaking of Otsuka, look, that is his crazy and pointless picture, really. But that's Otsuka's Tosai house, a part of it, not really changed one bit. Crazy pictures of the snow, look. That's just a huge wall of it where the cutter's been going through. Well, there we go. There's a good one. That was Shinoda. That is his famous, it was Nogiosai Koisho winner, Ginrin Showa, which was his probably most prominent parent fish. Absolutely super, super piece, that. Probably not going to be in here, is it? I can imagine, but we will see. Crazy to think how long ago that is as well. Now I'm going to disappoint you all now, aren't I? There we go. But anyway, you got these 3 from Marado, and they were absolutely nuts. And yeah, I've had an obsession with them ever since, to be fair. I'm not sure it's this. They'll say the simple beauty of them. They're actually really complex when you get up to the sort of high end level of them. No, sorry, folks. One with my old man there. Look, he'll love me for sharing that. With Shinoda, Shinoda's dad. My dad's not a particularly tall man either, let me tell you. Quality. Yeah, there we go. It was worth a try anyway. Sorry, right, back to it. Bit of focus. Let's go. Lee Taylor, evening all. Ricky, when introducing new fish to the pond, what steps would you recommend? this is each to their own with this one, in all fairness. There's always a high chance when you're introducing a new fish, you're going to rock the boat a little bit because it's a stressful process. You've got mixing of fish from one different environment to another that's had exposure to different things. So there's always a vulnerable period over like a week when the new fish's immune system will take a dip. It can all happen, and that's when you can typically get a little bit of a few parasites throw, a couple of flukes, something like that. PP dipping I've seen has become more and more fashionable. It is useful just to make sure the fish are completely clean going in, which can reduce any chances of bringing anything in. So I don't see anything wrong with that. Just be careful, as always, with potassium. It's a strong treatment, especially when you're using it like that. Don't overdo it and mix it well. But yeah, steps I'd recommend is just, get it. You're introducing generally 1 or 2 fish at a time. So it's nothing like when we do big movements of fish and there's a lot of stress involved in that. It's a very, very delicate process, let's say, on your side of the fence. But yeah, just make sure you've not got too big of a temperature difference. Certainly on the hot to cold side of it, you want to be careful. When you're coming a bit cooler and warming up, so long as you don't do it too quickly, which health-wise will normally be all right, but you can actually cause stress to the colour, as I did with a very valuable fish over last winter. Yep, I do shit like that still. Yeah, just slow and steady. I was going to say, salt can help. We will always use salt when we're moving fish around, but I think when you're just introducing that 1 or 2 fish, I really don't think it's worth it for your guys' side of the fence. But just watch it, study it closely, and probably it's worth doing a preventative after 3, 4, 5 days, something like that. Just lifting a couple of your fish if you've got a microscope and just checking that nothing has broke out at that point. And it can do, guys. It's not just a case of you've introduced a new fish, blame that. It can always be your fish in your pond sometimes that cause a problem with the new one. Now, I know that's a bit fucked up, but that can be exactly how it is. Yeah. Oh, there we go, Nigel. Greatly appreciated. He's always reminding people of that one. It's a like. It does help, folks. Come on, give me that thumbs up on the video. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, do it now. That helps as well because it makes me feel a lot better about life. Right, let's have a look. What we got this, real or myth? Let's have a good read here. Real or myth? Long body in a fish can be achieved with proper feeding method, or is it all genetics? I'm leaning towards genetics is what leads to a long fish, and while feeding maximizes their growth. Yeah, you're right there with that one. The ultimate governing factor. I say that, well, genetics, absolutely. You've kind of got 2 things to this. Now, it's quite easy to say, and this is where all this shit gets complicated. So when you just learn, when you get learning about bloodlines, just knowing the name and what it's come from generally means absolutely diddly squat. This stuff gets more important for a breeder looking at a potential parent fish, because the further they can potentially look back at what it's come from, remembering that characteristics several generations back in that bloodline can come out in the spawning. This is what Takano was on about with that shine that is in his fish, that super unique gin that I've only ever seen in Matsunosuke. It's not directly from Matsunosuke blood. Now, the version he told me, and I don't know how true it is, so don't take this as gospel. It's kind of like one of them. It's one of the talks you have when historic events get recalled and skewed, but there's no direct blood. So Takano is a Sakai cross Marido. That's the base of his lineage. In the history of that, so he says 100% that shine comes from Matsunosuke, and his wording was the very original Sakai stuff that he's used as his base there was Matsunosuke blood in there. Now, I don't know how true that is. And we're talking a long time ago. It could have changed completely from the Sakai perspective by now, because trust me, there is no Matsunosuke characteristic in a Sakai Sankey as of today, and hasn't been for a long time. But that was his thing, that's something that throws in a few fish from the really old genetics and the older generations of that. So you can see why that's important there. What you've also then got is the immediate kind of inheritance from the parent fish. So you could have a bloodline that is renowned for producing jumbo fish, but for some reason, a bit of a freak off of that doesn't want to grow is used as a parent fish. Say it gets mature quite old, it's only 70 cm as an adult fish. Offspring of that, I mean, it wouldn't be a very good female candidate. That's the problem. But if you female offspring from that, it's all right. You could be saying, oh, they're from such and such a pedigree that grows jumbo fish, but they're a descendant of a fish that only ever grew to 70 cm. That is going to be a massive governing factor for that offspring. Now, amongst that whole offspring, there'll be ones that kind of skip that and go further back in the bloodline. But generally, the immediate limiting factor is even going to be the parent fish that they've come from. And it does set everything up. Generally, there are some, but again, it is genetics. You're right. You know, Chagoi more naturally renowned to have the right body and grow. However, there are Chagoi bloodlines that have been more refined for the color that then lose a bit of that natural growth characteristic that they carry, you see. So first you've got parent fish as your first limiting factor, and then the actual capability of the bloodline. But, you know, if it's a bloodline that's only ever really produced fish of 70, 80 cm, then if you're going to expect to raise an 85 fish cm out of them, it's going to be a freak. It's going to be a very, very rare one. So, yeah, good question, but absolutely for me, genetics. But even when the genetic potential is there, you've got to marry that with the feeding. Because if you don't, they don't just do it on their own, guys. You've got to give them the shove and all the help that they need in order to do it. Ricky, before you select fish in Japan, do the breeders send you pictures first? Yeah, this is, I mean, it's a really, really interesting process. And I don't think one you're maybe that educated on or get to know about on your side of the fence. So how I do things, I would probably set aside from how it's generally done. And that's for two reasons. It's just where I've got to in my understanding and the way I do things based on where I'm at. But obviously you've got people who go to Japan, select stuff there pond side. I do a bit of that myself as well, but not very often. The reason for that is because I'll often, it makes more sense for me to buy the whole lot, because I need volume of fish, and rather than paying a premium to hand select from it, just for paying the additional air freight, take the lot and do the selection when I get them back here. But yeah, I mean, it's breeders. So I liaise with a lot of the breeders I deal with myself, and I've got Rie on the ground over there as well. So a lot of stuff, i.e. batches I'm looking at the minute, the deal I just recently did securing the crazy Tosai Kaku from NND again. All that stuff, yeah, I see it beforehand. In fact, actually, that one, I've done the deal with Fujo before, but I trust the man explicitly. So I got to see them just after, though. I knew he wouldn't let me down, and he certainly didn't. And yeah, there'll be that. Obviously, there's more and more events these days for individual fish. So you see the pictures and videos of them up front. And if there is something, yeah, breeders will send stuff directly to me. There's Japanese social messaging apps and stuff like that. So it might just be a sample. If I'm buying a lot, i.e. we're looking at a pond deal, in our case, we'll get a sample, and I'll often ask for a sample out of the pond and then a sample of the whole pond, because I can make my assessments from that. And then often sometimes I might get Rie running around going, look, just going to see what's there, get me a video of that, bits and bobs. How it's generally working everywhere else, I mean, a lot of there's big agents out there that work, big consolidators, as they're known in the trade, who are selecting boxes of fish, and they send them out via WhatsApp and other channels for other dealers to buy that box. And there might be some of them who work and go and pick specific boxes for people in that way. But to be honest, it's got to the point where that much of them, not too much changes every year in Japan. So, you know, there will be some deals I'm doing at the minute, for example, where I literally just say, get me 1,000 of them, get me 2,000 of them, because I know year on year exactly what it's going to be. There's not an option to select them anyway. So we just get that done. Yeah, it's an interesting one, but it just depends on what level it's at as well. Obviously, I wouldn't make a crazy commitment without seeing anything at all. But when you do that as well, it's important you get to learn to look through pictures and videos. And it's crazy because certainly with the high value stuff, globally, seeing more and more of that done through internet sales and all these internet auctions and things like that. But some of the breeders very guilty of pissing around with the pictures, which I really don't like. So then you look at the videos and you see some of the flaws, but even sometimes you can get things that actually aren't problems look like problems just because of the way it swims or the way the water moves in a bowl. So you do have to learn to sort of look through that stuff a little bit. But yeah, it just depends what we're doing, to be honest, Lisa. But good question. I think it's a side of things. It's good for you to probably understand a bit more. Evening. Thoughts on air source heat pumps, and do they use them in Japan? No, Japan's all oil-based, as I am, because they have, especially in Niigata, crazy-ass winter. And they want, as I do, warm water, 18 up to 25, anywhere in that range. So that's where they are. They use them a lot on houses. That is the main source of heating on a lot of houses, because you've obviously got the air conditioning and the heat side of it, which is important in Japan. Are they good? Absolutely. I've done a video on this on the channel. I mentioned it. I think this is becoming an essential piece of equipment for koi keepers to enhance your hobby more than anything, and alleviate a lot of the stress factors that come with certainly with the poor British climate. And it certainly seems that from a running cost perspective, this is absolutely the best way to go. So again, I think if you've not seen it, if you get yourself in the Telegram group that I've set up, the link to that is in the description. If you didn't catch that earlier, I've actually set up a dedicated topic for heat pumps where everybody is sharing their experiences. And it's a really, really useful resource that for people. Andy, hi. Just looking for some advice on Saki Akari. Just wondering which one I should buy, as my fish are quite old, but next year I'm looking to buy some young ones. So I'm just wondering which one for me. Andy, I think that's a simple one for me. If they're all going in the same pond, I'd probably go for balance. It's a fantastic all-round food that's still going to deliver exceptional results for you. And it'll be a really, really worthwhile one, a balanced one for the whole collection, hence the name of it, really. Be my choice, 100%. Toronto Nishikigoi, good evening, Ricky, and all from Toronto, Canada. I have a question with regards to my grow on pond. My pH keeps dropping, and I find myself adding bicarb almost every other day. I need some more information to properly answer that. The likelihood is here, if it's a grow on, it's likely a small body of water. What's your starting KH reading? And if you've got the temperature cranked up and you're feeding a lot and it's a small body of water, you're naturally going to be producing a lot more CO2, which in the end in the water will form carbonic acid. And there at that point is going to be your problem. And your filter, everything's just working harder when you've got that temp up and you're feeding heavy, and you will burn through your KH a lot more. So it might be that you actually need to be changing more water or just carry on with that buffering. But that's all going to depend on where that base KH level is. But generally, if you are at that point anyway, it might be that you might need a bit of a bigger water change in all reality, or running some more water. Obviously, I caveat that with just saying make sure you've got that water well treated before you go doing either of what I've just said. Otherwise, you're going to cause yourself a whole world of pain. And weren't that an interesting subject, folks, if you've not seen it? Sky News reporting that water companies are going to be made to pay back money, which they're not going to do. They're going to dock it off of people's bills for the absolute pile of shite that they've been serving up for us. Never mind our fish. Shocking. Absolutely shocking. Oh, sorry. Here we go. I feed my tow size 6 to 7 times a day, and I'm pushing them, assuming my pond is producing a lot of acid. Oh, there we go. You've answered yourself, in which causes the drop in KHPH. Yes, you've got that, buddy. 100%. Hi, Alan. Good evening, mate. Right. God, I'm only just catching up to comments where I showed you me prize that's coming up. Greg, hi. Recently found your YouTube channel and I've been binge watching your vids and podcasts with a vengeance. God, I feel sorry for you, buddy. I find it very interesting with regards to the issues deriving from our tap water. I too am worried about all the unknown stuff that we would be expecting our fish to breathe and live in. I know rainwater has its issues, temp, lack of minerals, toxins, etc., but wonder if it might be a better starting point than tap water, especially given it's free. I have a pond in the back garden. We've cut off at that point. All I would say to that, Greg, is I do think mains water is your best choice. Unless you can tap into a natural spring somewhere, which would be amazing. Tap water is your best choice, 100%, but just treat it properly. It can be treated properly. I was actually having a chat earlier with Neil from Sunnybank because he's not been happy with the water at his shop. And again, it comes down to grades of carbon. It might be worth having a chat with him, to be honest, because he has bought some very, very expensive super high grade carbon and got a bit on it, and he's had some tests done with the company that I use and found the results have been absolutely phenomenal. So you just get that right and you're going to be absolutely fine. But I just come back to, again, you just need to understand what water you're dealing with before you just go doing big water changes or flooding it in. When you know, you can set up your purification system accordingly. And then you know the outcome, you know how to monitor it and what you're monitoring for, and you keep on top of it, and it shouldn't be a problem. Lee Bailey, evening all. Building a 3 by 2 meter pond, bottom drain in the middle or to the side, and airing to others' side. Oh, what's your view? I still put your bottom drain in the middle. Nothing wrong with that. It can also be handy, Lee, that you do install an aerated one anyway. Not that I'd recommend using it, but it's just there in case over time you think what I've told you is a load of waffle and you're not happy with it. It's just one of those jobs you're not going back and changing it anytime soon. So I'd fit an aerated one, but not with the thoughts of using it. Bottom drain in the middle of the pond, and then I run all the returns and aeration at one end of the pond, and that's it. So you've got one directional flow, and it's a graduated flow down to one end. I think that's the point where I showed you the magazine. Awesome. Now it's getting harder to tell the difference between males and females. Do you think the price of males will go up, females will go down, or stay the same? Females will not go down, males are going up. I've said this. You know, you've got the likes of Narita now where he is intentionally selling fish sometimes as male guarantee, the same way in which female guarantee is sold. I've seen prices, and then when it happens at the big boys, it filters down. Sakai auctions plugging male fish as hard as female fish because they know what they can deliver with them now. It is happening. It's been happening. It's just the whole kind of mentality of it over here still isn't catching up at the same rate. I think by the time it has caught up, if it ever does, it will be too late. I'll take it. That's for the magazine there. Alan, hi. Ricky, can oyster shell be used in shower type filters? Yes, it can. Great place to put it, to be fair. So yeah, good idea there. Hi, Ricky. Would one red eye on a very nice Sankey be a demerit in the UK show scene, even though everything else about the koi is spot on? I know you always say about compromises. This is a marathon Sankey. If you like the fish and you know the fish is of quality, I'd say forget it. To be honest with you, I'm not even going to comment on UK show scene because I've said it many times. I just don't fucking get it. So I'm not going to pass comment on it. What I am going to say is if that's a quality fish and you like it, why the hell would you be I don't know if you are considering getting rid of it, actually. I know that you're asking if it's a demerit. Might well be. Like I say, I'm not going to comment, but focus on the quality. In Japan, that's what would reign supreme. But it often depends how the red eye is. But I've seen fish even with isolated one red eye offset against, you know, a white face, and they've still won major awards out there. That I can't comment on because, you know, quality shines through and is respected in the proper way. How small of a growing pond can you get away with to grow koi to around 35 cm dimensions wise? Yeah, I mean, with the right setup and right stocking level, I'd say anything around 500 gallon upwards you could do with it. if you're looking at that size, as I try and say, get more length. So if it was a long, narrow pond, it'd probably be better than something round or along them lines. But it would really come down to what you're doing with the filtration with something like that in the end, in all fairness. So, yeah, but 500 gallons, absolutely. My quarantine tanks, what I call the quarantine tanks, 440. I could do some crazy things in there if I changed the filtration. But if you can get yourself to like 1,000, like I've got the 1,200 gallon pond, you know, you're not far off. My God, you can go wild in one of them. But with what you're wanting to do, I think around 500 gallons. Probably, to be honest with you, if you got the dimensions right enough, I reckon you could do it with 300. Almost sounds like I'm setting myself a challenge there, doesn't it? Sure, my pressure filter works, but maintenance is horrendous. Yes, that's it. But this is that with anything, you know, when you are working wherever you are, you know, yes, you can get up to your automated fancy, you don't even want to say it, you know, your drum filter, stuff like that. You're going to pay for it. But you can get is loads of other equipment that will work and do the job. It's just how much work you're going to have to put into it to get the results. I've recently heard of a Midori a non-metallic green koi. Is this true? It absolutely is true. They are quite impressive things. Nobody actually breeding a pure lineage of them. The only way to really get them these days is from Ayawakaba spawnings. Yeah, originate from using Shisui basically to get them produced. But Tazawa was one of the old boys. I mean, my God, he was lethal, but he produced a fantastic Madura koi, and I've had them from Marasaka back in the day. Now Marasaka still has the parent set, but he's focused it more towards Ayawakaba. And I did actually get a few this year. Looked like he'd put a bit more effort into maybe producing Madura koi. And I say actually, I've said keeping there because often the difference in them having them and not having them is it culling. They might just throw the Madura koi away because they think there's no demand for them, or they're deciding to focus on Ayawakaba and don't want to keep them. That can literally just be that difference. Crikey, guys, you've been busy here, haven't you? I've not even done my koi appreciation stuff yet. Oh my God, I'm going to disappoint a few people tonight. Right. I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to have a quick flick through here and just pick a few out. Hey, up, Terry's here. Evening, Terry. How you doing, pal? This is not a good pattern I'm setting, is it? Evening, Ricky. Working on the filter house over the weekend. Bought a bottle of Midori. Not really a question, but cheers for setting me on that. It's a cracking drink. It really is, especially if you're on the enjoy them on the sweeter side. Built my own filters, exact same as koi wholesale. Why spend thousands on filters when you don't have to? There we go. And I hope they're working well for you, Mark. I really do. Oh, there we go. Discover Koi. Hi, I managed to purchase Tenchi Kaku from you with Kuchi Benny sold to Kingsland Koi 55 cm. Any thoughts on it, mate? Yeah, it's a banger. Well done. Don't need to say anymore. That was a fish. That one really was. Struggled letting it go. I think I was actually caught a lot of attention, that fish, because it was when I did a live harvest video of that one. Pretty cool. So can I use Seki Curry Balance as my main feed and just mix in more growth and colour in summer? Yes, if you want to do that, Tom, there's no harm in that one at all. Satch very late to the party. Shocking, pal. Shocking. Right. I'll tell you what. I'm going to drop to... no, they've stayed, look, haven't they? Mega. Double-sided sticky Velcro. Awesome. This was funny. Aaron, look. So this Aaron is my videographer. God, he's becoming, God, trying to sort him out. Honestly, I was ribbing him yesterday. This kid's diet is just something else. He'd had a large can of Red Bull and can of Monster before lunch yesterday. Then he slopes off for a McDonald's. And then he wonders why he can't sleep at night. I mean, I think it's quite an easy one to work out. That hilarious. Amazing. Appreciate you saying that. Again, guys, link is in the description for that one. Oh, there we go. Why don't you exhibit at koi shows? If you're talking about the UK, I can't because I'm a dealer. And in Japan, I do. Simple. I do because I can. I enter fish on customers' behalf in Japan as well because we can. And for me, anyway, that's where I want to be doing it. Just how I am when I'm competing. I want to know I'm competing against the absolute best. So when you get awards like International Junior Koi Show, Junior Champion this year, as I did with that amazing Ginrin Kohaku from Maruyama that's owned by Dave, it really means something. You know you've beat some serious competition to win that award. And yeah, that's where I'm at with that one. Right, guys. Thoughts on Dragon Ball Sankey? Love them. Absolutely amazing. Now Richard is, yes, shoving me on. Forget questions. Let's have some fish porn. Fair enough. Right. So, one net, you're going to get to see the full video of this anyway. This is the pond I was sorting yesterday, and this is what I put back in the pond for a bit further growing. It was hard anyway, because what I took out to sell was just as good, to be honest. Just I need to get the numbers down, because these were sat at 40 to 45 cm on average. I thought we'd only be touching 40, and the volume level kind of shocked me a little bit, but it's nowhere near where I want it. So now that's down to 40 fish. I'll be able to take those comfortably now to the 50, 55 centimetre this side that I want, and really get the body volume where I want it as well. But the quality is undeniable. You've got all sorts in there. You've got corns. You've got them absolutely epic Deutsch Chag, Ginrin Chag, Deutsch Ginrin, sorry. The Ginrin, normal Chag, Takano Sankeys in there, Okawa fish from the Tatigoi I got, Sakai Mango Benigois. That's the Masagi I'm on about there. Look across the top. That's one of the Okawa ones. That's a new type corn you can see. Oh, it's just absolutely savage, that pond. Absolutely mad. That there on the top is a Sorogoi that's come from Sakai Mango Karashi line. What a net full that is. We'll run it one more time. Sankey there on the top from Okawa is just absolutely sensational. I'd say biggest end in there, 45. That Benigoy there in the corner is one of them. There's a crazy Ginga you might have seen through the middle of all that is from, that's actually from the Saito Shunku spawning. Absolutely. Now that's come on in the past month has been bonkers. Can you imagine seeing that lot in maybe a couple of months' time or by the end of the year when they're all hitting that 50, 55 cm mark and I've got the body volume level where I want it? It's going to look absolutely nuts. That Ginrin Kiyosagi there on the top from Taniguchi, just bonkers. I absolutely love it. I was in my element yesterday. It's just amazing to see results like that, especially when I weren't disappointed. I remember I just thought I wasn't going to be, they weren't going to quite where I want, and pond's been quite overstocked for a while, which is the story of my life generally. But yeah, there we go. And then another one, look, this is just one of them fish. So I had it yesterday, which you'll see on the video I'm talking about when it gets released. A Ginrin Kiyosagi of the perfection. It's one of the rarest fish. I don't think I've seen one in all the time I've been doing this now. And it's got all the qualities on it. Just doesn't falter in one area. Sensational. But then I've got this beast as well right now. Don't want to seem to play. Oh, God, what's going off? It's just tormenting you, look. Right, let me delete that off and see if I can feed it back through. Because the story of that Matsukawa Baki there is wild. There we go. Just look at that. So this fish has not had a consistent or good growing season. It's only the sort of last month, and I've got these tucked away in the male pond at the minute. So it's also massively overstocked. But what it's done in that last month with its body is crackers. Look at that body line. The shoulders, the backbone. What's going on with this sumi? I mean, we never truly know with Matsukawa Baki, but I'm just going to take it right now. It's absolutely mega, but it's super, super inky as well. You can see that from the Motogoro in the fins, look, and the sumi on the nose. But a fish with that kind of body and them qualities is never going to disappoint, regardless of what happens with that sumi. If it kind of stays with that Kanoko effect it's got, it'd be insane. But who knows? It is one of the joys of this variety. But like I say, that body characteristic on that, the sumi Shiroji, just what a piece. Absolute banger. So I can't wait. That's turning, what, 2.5 years old now. But that is in, like I say, not had a good growing season at 48 cm. But I guess by the time I've got that thinned down and the fish all of a similar size in there together, that is going to probably hit about 60 cm by spring next year. And get ready. Get ready. Let's have one more look at that. The best bit, which I'll share with you in a minute, is the parent fish. Sean, you nearly got it. FWQ, mate. It definitely is fucking wow quality. So yeah, the parent fish. Does anybody, let's make this a bit of fun. Last one before I bugger off. Anybody want to guess what fish, what parent fish that came from? What female parent fish? Fire it into comments. Let's have a bit of fun. Those of you who are really paying attention to the content would know this straight away and figure it out. But I've got a picture to share with you. Just what a piece. What a piece. I'm so excited to carry on pushing that. Bonkers. Yeah, there we go, folks. I'll just let them comments trickle in before I show you that picture, before I do go completely. But just a bit of a recap, because there's a lot more of you in now than there was at the beginning. There are links to our WhatsApp and Telegram group now in the description. They'll be in the descriptions of all the video on YouTube going forward. So get yourself in there. The Telegram community is absolutely buzzing. You'll love it. And it's very, very useful. If you like buying fish, and when I'm pond side, it's fantastically useful. But if you like support and just having a good crack, then get yourself in there. And we are restarting the live auctions the week after next. We're going to be on with that. So that's going to produce some great appreciation content into the channel at the same time. But there's going to be a great mix, price ranges, fish with and without growing options, overwintering options, the job lot, as we always have done, but bringing it back with a much more refined and slicker process, amongst other bits and bobs. Yeah, there we go. So, sorry, right, yeah. Koi Aquaponics has got it very, very, very close. Karashi and Shiro parents. So that Matsukawa Baki is from Saito. And that there is the parent set. So that's his Ginrin Karashi that originates from Marado stock. That's the female fish. And those two, I still need to verify this, but I know we're close. Those two Matsukawa Baki you see in there originate from Sakai Mango somewhere along the line, two little males. And that's what's crossed in, and that's the offspring. So you can see there, look, that body of that Ginrin Karashi is no slouch. What a fish that is. Mega genetics. Saito just doing really, really cool stuff. So yes, there we go. Thank you to everybody who has tuned in. I look forward to chatting with you over on one of them communities. And yeah, I look forward to seeing what next week brings and see if we can get you a little bit closer to knowing what I've been up to. So there we go, folks. Thank you to everyone who's tuned in. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and I'll catch you again soon.